and welcome. I am King's Decree with MMOplay.com, bringing you a guide for Tahm Kench. I've read and watched a plethora of guides and of course played a ton of games with him. Then I compiled that acquired knowledge into a nifty top 10 list. As we descend, the more important the information. Also, I threw in a few awful jokes. Without further ado, number 10, the not so ultimate. Besides having an amazing passive, this ult has a limited effective usage. Being able to teleport to a specific point of the map within range is inherently powerful, of course, but the crippling drawback is how incredibly long it takes to actually get there. More often than not, this was used in a pinch, like making it to an impromptu fight a dragon or popping up behind an extremely overextended enemy. The added benefit of taking along a teammate for most people is not only useless but unused. Generally, this skill will be used in specific situations. However, the fantastic passive more than makes up for its shortcomings. Keep in mind to not tell Tahm any secrets. After all, he's got a big mouth. Number 9. General Play Style. Much like a lot of Rek'Sai these days, you'll be a tanky support-like character. You're a great anti-tank, anti-burst, and anti-hyper carry, all of which I'll get into more detail below. Kench fits well into jungle, top, and can be used as a support. It's quite popular to put him there, but personally I don't like it. There are much better, safer choices for that role. Playing him top is certainly okay, but typically you want a champ that will maximize the extra gold, and Kench can get by and do his job even when behind. Lastly, jungle, my favorite role and arguably Tahm Kench's best. His clear is fairly fast, has pretty good sustain in addition to having good ganks even at level 2 and potentially great at level 6 onward. His downfalls are that his clear isn't as fast as top tier junglers, he's slow to travel around the map, his objective control is rather weak, and his counter jungling is out of the question for most people. As a side note, I won't touch on specific rune pages or masteries, just go with whatever your defensive or jungle pages are, and you'll do just fine. I tried to bait him into eating me, he didn't bite. Number 8. Scuttle and Creep Control. Tahm Kench has a great skill for quickly and effectively taking out old scuds. Swallow that little bugger and spit him out for a huge amount of damage. The kicker is that you want to get into the habit of slamming him into a wall, otherwise it'll just sprint away from you. Not fun. One of the biggest annoyances of playing this champ is his relatively awful minion management. His damage per second on bigger creatures is bad and he lacks good wave clear. This is especially troublesome for winning games in low elo where having a large gold advantage really helps. The splash damage upon spitting something out is just not that great, and you can get a cleave weapon if you want, but generally I would somewhat advise against it. I think top is definitely a good pick, but the other two positions, it's not always 100% useful. He sent me some food the other day. It arrived spoiled. He should have used FedEx. Number 7. Tongue Slash Effectiveness. The bread and butter skill. This is a spammable, long range, poke, slow, and stun ability. Not only that, but it will proc, or activate, certain items which I'll get into soon. You'll need to immediately get used to using this skill and be able to hit even far away targets with good accuracy. When you see that little yellow fishy near an enemy, that means just hitting them with your tongue will stun them. Similarly, it's wise to use the skill in a fight to stun enemies over saving it for a running enemy. The damage on the tongue isn't super high and the cooldown is low, thus proccing becomes a major feature. I asked him what he thought of Japanese fish. He said they were okoi. Number 6. Swallowing enemies. The butter to your bread and butter skill. After getting an acquired taste of an enemy, you can slurp them up within a very small range and spit them out moments later. There are a damn near infinite uses for even this half of the skill. As mentioned before, Tahm Kench is a great anti-tank. The percent health damage against tanks is incredibly painful, particularly in the late game. He's a great anti-hyper carry as well, because all you need to do is swallow that annoying Master Yi and spit him into your team to get destroyed instantly. Less common, but still awesome ways to use Swallow is to grab an enemy and throw them into friendly crowd control, like a Caitlyn trap. Or you can spit them over walls like dragging a Baron. But King, proccing acquired taste is too difficult, I can't do it. Fear not, I will go over the affectionately named golden combo below. I asked him what his favorite month was. He said gourmet. Number 5, level up path. There is a minor debate over which skill you should max first, Q or W. Personally, I think it would almost always be Q. With levels in Tongue Slash, you gain an increased slow, plus extras, which I find much more useful than a bit of damage from spitting enemies, which is only half of what the skill is used for. Another affectionately named skill is Thick Skin, the E, otherwise known as the 1-point wonder. Of course, always go R whenever possible. To sum all that up, max Q, W, R, and then E. I was reading the other day that he was inspired by Catfish. I get it, I'm just not feeling it. Number 4, build path. Item builds for bruisers like Kench are pretty difficult to give a uniform opinion of. Do you go all tank, hybrid tank, or a more damage centric build? I feel generally a Triforce, Merc Treads, and Warmogs should be built in just about every build. Triforce is surprisingly underused item for this guy. Every piece fits nicely with the added benefit of easy procs and a lot of shoring up his natural innate weaknesses. Not to mention, the Swallow ability has an extremely limited range requiring you to be up close and personal, and Kench's slow speed really doesn't help with that. Merc Treads, typical easy choice, it's limiting crowd control and fills in with some magic resist. Warmogs, without a doubt, is an always build. It grants you health, which helps you stay alive and fulfill your role as a tank. It grants great synergy with Thick Skin, and your ult's damage passive. This is just a wholly awesome item to always take, no matter what role you're playing. Now here's where it gets a little tricky and divergent. If you really had, get a cleave weapon into something like a Righteous Glory for that help in initiating team fights, and fill in with some miscellaneous defense like Randuin's Omen or Spirit Visage. If you're behind, skip the Righteous Glory and cleave weapon and go straight into the Randuin Spirit Visage. Then maybe something like a Sunfire Frozen Heart or a Banshee, depending upon what the enemy team comp is like. The jungle item is a toss up between the Stalkers and Trailblazer. The slow is nice, but Kench already has his spammable tongue, and with the Trailblazer the wave clear is nice, but he doesn't really need the sustain. The upgrade path for the jungle item is Cinderhulk for that health. As a side note, you can pick Rod of Ages, but I just never felt like it fit especially well in any of my builds. I'd rather just go for Trinity Force, but then after that, it's a little bit too late to be effective. He asked me the other day if I enjoyed the track meet. I said I didn't need any. Number 3, using Thick Skin. Having a quick wit about you when you're using this skill is very important. The battle of life and death, whether it be with a jungle creep or underneath the turret, is a fast one that needs good decision making. You can take the free save or wait it out and hope for the best. Generally, better safe than sorry. Dive enemies under the turret and use up all that green health, and activate E for effectively double health. This also applies to auxiliary fighting. Be warned, however, that shield goes fast and you'll be an easy target afterwards, so be as soon as you can. If you don't decide to use Thick Skin, your health bar will split the difference and give you back a good amount. It's very useful in the jungle or sustaining through enemy harass. Late game, this is an incredibly important ability. Don't let the nickname 1-point wonder fool you. Kench isn't really bothered by people calling him demon or devil. He's got a thick skin. Number 2, swallowing teammates. I hope you brush your teeth because your teammates are going to be spending a lot of time in there. Being the hero of the story, you'll be constantly coming to your teammate's rescue. It's like a less effective, but for any teammate, Kalista ultimate. Some of my favorite moments of playing this fat fish were when I made a clutch swallow to save a teammate. Friend is nearly dead, swallow, waddle a bit, spit over a wall. Friend is about to get burst down or CC'd, swallow, spit, and then read the thank you in chat. Want to initiate a team fight? Swallow someone, waddle towards enemy, spit them right in their face. This is such a great, fun ability. Use it often and be on the lookout for ideal opportunities. I have, however, one complaint. In clustered team fights, there seems to be a very heavy-handed preference to swallowing teammates instead of enemies, notably when they have acquired taste. It's incredibly frustrating and has lost me numerous team fights, so be careful about that. As you can imagine, Kench is the ideal partner. After all, he grants you whatever your heart desires, but someone should tell him that true love swallows. Number 1, the golden combo. If you're going to take anything away from this video, it should be this. Granted, it's fairly simple and even newer players don't need to be told. Auto attack, tongue slash, auto attack. That will proc acquired taste nice and easy while maximizing damage. Ingrain this combo in your brain. This also synergizes extremely well with Trinity Force, which is why, unlike other people, I take it whenever I can. The exception being when I'm very far behind. Typically, number 1s on this list are longest and most drawn out, but there really isn't anything else to say besides auto attack, Q, auto attack. Learn it, live it, love it. And a little known fact, Nami and Kench have been seeing each other. Yeah, she says he's quite the catch. So long, and thanks for all the fish. Once again, I have been yours truly, King from MMOplay.com, with my top 10 tips for playing Tahm Kench. Which champion would you like to see next? Leave a comment below and make sure to subscribe for more content. Thanks for watching.